Malcontent News is a team of journalists, activists, and researchers with three key missions. A commitment to show an unfiltered view of the before, during, and after of key events, live, as it happens. To defend the First Amendment using our rights of a free press. And to amplify the voices of underrepresented individuals including Black, Indigenous, persons of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Our team is committed to seeking equality for all and holding those in power accountable. The easiest way to support Malcontent News is to bookmark our website at malcontentnews.com, like and follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and in the Google News app. To provide financial support, you can become a patron, make a one-time donation through Venmo, or link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and use your free subscription to subscribe to Malcontent News. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and for being a malcontent. Good evening, Malcontents. My name is David. I am the Malcontent, and it is another episode of Malcontentment Happy Hour. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, May 5th, 2021, Cinco de Mayo. Let me pull in my amazing co-host, Jennifer Smith. Jennifer, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling a little blinded by my ring light at the moment, but as long as I look decent and I'm clear, I'm not going to complain. How are you?
I have working with experimental lighting today. I have moved the ring light much closer to me and killed a couple of the studio lights. And I definitely feel like I'm being interrogated right now.
Yeah, I feel that a little bit too. Like I need to be I don't know, confessing to something.
We have some news. We have our chit chat, our pre-show chit chat. We have some news about former social media icon Donald Trump. The Facebook Oversight Board, Jennifer, said that an indefinite ban on him is unreasonable. The Anti-Defamation League says that the quasi-independent Facebook board has simply kicked the decision down the road, and word is internally in Facebook, everybody there is going, shit. Because they were actually hoping for either, no, you got to let him back on, or no, he is indefinitely banned. Not, an indefinite ban's not fair, but you figure out how long it should be.
Yeah, no, I think that's particularly interesting. But I saw something in our chat the other day about him having this thing where you could basically tweet or do something from, the desk of Donald Trump. So that just kind of reeks of desperation because he's got to be just going insane that he still can't be on social media. But yeah, they definitely need to just grow a pair and make a decision.
I think it's pretty interesting that he has not put a line in the sand in Parler.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens.
We will. I understand that you have some things you've learned.
Yeah, so guess what? You can walk on the sidewalk outside the East Precinct now. Did you know that?
And not worry about getting hit by a car because you're forced to walk in the street because there's a bunch of concrete blocks there?
No, the ecology block wall, about 6 feet high, came down yesterday. The Capitol Hill community, of course, is relieved. A 12-foot high metal fence took its place, though. Windows are still boarded up. And we know Seattle loves their police department, but we guess SPD wants to be extra sure.
Kind of like when they put the Pope in that Pope-mobile and the bulletproof caboose there, right? We know the world loves the Pope. And God protects them, but we just want to be extra sure down here on Earth.
I I'm not gonna lie, the Pope Mobile makes me laugh every time I see it. Like every time. It
I
reminds
wonder
me
if
of
you
the
could buy like a snow globe Pope mobile.
Yeah,
Like you could
yeah,
shake it and like all the little dust comes down inside.
yes, yes.
It
Like
could be
little one
filled
of
with
those.
holy water. I know
The,
I'm being bad, people. You can't do that. I'm just having fun.
oh,
Jennifer,
yes.
people were losing their collective shit yesterday because they looked up in the sky and they saw this line of lights going across the sky, and social media was filled with, what is that? It wasn't Superman. It wasn't Chinese rocket debris. It wasn't Bill Gates's computers getting ready to control all those microchips. It was Elon Musk. They had done a launch of Starlink satellites, and about 60 of them were flying over the Pacific Northwest as they were reaching their orbital altitude. And that's what people saw, was a chain of 60 Starlink satellites. Low Earth orbit is actually cluttered with a bunch of crap. By some estimates, there's potentially 1 million pieces of debris right now, and satellites and other things ranging from the size of like a BB and paint flecks all the way up to things the size of buses. And there are concerns among astronomers that Starlink is going to effectively destroy dark sky areas around the planet and eliminate terrestrial astronomy.
Well, leave it to Elon Musk to mess some more shit up. Yeah, I think it was insane last night. See that, like it was just like my feed was full of that. So yeah, I guess it was just Elon Musk being Elon Musk and trying to colonize, the universe.
Him and Jeff Bezos in that race, although right now I think Elon is winning because Elon's actually getting stuff into space, and Blue Origin is still talking about putting stuff into space.
Ugh, it should just all be talk at this point. We've messed this planet up enough. We don't need to go mess up more.
We're going to have an interesting conversation about capitalism later on tonight. Are we ready to start the real show?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Malcontent News comes to you from Seattle, Washington, the occupied homelands of Coast Salish peoples. We're grateful to live and work as guests on these lands, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Duwamish, Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. This land acknowledgement is but one small gesture in the ongoing process of working toward repairing and sustaining relations with Coast Salish lands, waters, peoples, and their other than human kin.
Thank you so much for that, Jennifer. And I did see the comment, the question about M-Player and Quake, and the answer is yes. My gamer tag is RxDeath4You. That has been my gamer tag for more years than I care to admit, and that is my gamer tag literally on every platform that is out there. Pokemon Go, the little Nintendo Switch, which I barely play. That's why I'm like, ugh. My Xbox, and then going back to M-Player, RX as in prescription, death, the number 4U. So if you ever played against RxDeath4You, that was me. Okay, and on that total side note of gamer history, now is the time of the show to go ahead, please spam those hearts. Let the mods and admins know that you love them, and our researchers and our writers and our editors and Jennifer and I, just in a non-creepy way, please. The other thing you can do is you can say you like it. When you hit those hearts and you hit those likes, you mess with the Facebook algorithm and you mess with the Twitter algorithm. So more people see our content and more people go, ooh, I should be watching Malcontentment Happy Hour. If you're watching us on Twitch, I can't do it. You can do a big long line of hearts. And if you're a Twitch subscriber, you get to use our emote, including one of my favorite emotes, my fuzzy buddy back here, Yoda. Yoda left us on February 28th, but he will be forever in the hearts of the Malcontent News team. Finally, if you are on YouTube, you can just do a big long line of hearts or a comment and go, love you mods, love you admins, love Jennifer, love David, love Yoda, whatever you want to put in there. It helps us grow. And the best part of all, it's totally free way to help us out. Hey, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us from Portland, Oregon. I love seeing the shout outs in the comments from where people are at. Jennifer, I left-handed the show notes for 1 second and I moved them right back over to the right hand. If I hold it in my left hand, malcontents, it covers up the mute lights on the dash down here, and then I don't see them. And so far, we're off to a good start. I don't want to put the kibosh on it, Jennifer.
Yes, don't jinx it.
So, Jennifer, basically, the entire state of Washington went, what? Yesterday, when Governor Inslee announced at 11 o'clock that they were putting a stay on the safe opening phases, and they were holding all counties where they were at for the next 2 weeks. The view was, from the advice of the Washington Department of Health, that we had hit a plateau and that they didn't feel we were going to hit critical numbers in our ICUs or for cases, that they felt we were kind of coming to the top of the peak, but they wanted to do a pause for 2 weeks to kind of see where things are at. So nothing changed for anybody anywhere in the state.
Yeah, I know. I was one of those people that was quite surprised by that because I expected, and as I said last week, I anticipated we would roll back to phase 2, given the escalation in cases. But clearly that did not happen. And of course, I have my rationale for why I think that did not happen. But I think we're going to have that conversation a little bit later. So I will save my commentary for then. But, there were a lot of people that were actually quite surprised just by kind of like talking to people and, going through my social media that we didn't roll back to phase 2. And we're actually a little bit disappointed.
It's a little weird to me because the reactions that I read on the internet is everybody was unhappy. People that I thought would go, cool, he's finally done the right thing, are unhappy. People that we need to move to phase 2 so that we don't turn into a total shit show, were unhappy. Yeah. Nobody was happy. Brandy Cruz wasn't happy. Some of the Department of Health officials aren't happy. Business leaders that actually didn't have to pull back are going, we were told, Jennifer, we were told, I say that as a business owner, to get ready for phase 2. And there are some companies that are now going, I changed my staffing, I changed my orders, I changed my inventory, and I did it all for nothing.
I know, and I think it's particularly interesting too that, of course, I'm a graduate student at the UW and I'm employed by the university, and, they're anticipating going back to in-person classes in summer and fall, based on students being vaccinated. But I also work for Seattle colleges where I'm teaching fully remotely again in fall. So I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out. I know the UW went through a little bit of trouble retaining students last year as a result of COVID because everything was online. And a lot of people were disappointed that they were going to miss out on that freshman year experience. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to be able to stay in person, and how many people are going to cooperate with the vaccination requirements.
Yeah, one of the things that we have on the scroller down below is that the state of Washington has tipped over. More than 50% of people have at least had their first shot. In the case, if you got a Johnson & Johnson like myself, then you only get the one shot, but that's factoring that into those numbers. Yesterday, the Department of Health officials tried to paint a rosy picture. A couple of reporters on that call tried to challenge the numbers, and they were like, well, we don't have those numbers handy. Let us get back to you. Jennifer, we have receipts, and I have the latest numbers from today. Let's go ahead and pull those up.
Okay.
We got King County, but I want to talk about the state overall first. The state overall is 254.5 cases per 100,000 residents. That's statewide. To stay in phase 3, you want to be under 200. 254 isn't awful, but it's not good. Statewide positivity rate is 6.2%. That is actually up from 5.1% statewide just yesterday. That's a huge jump in positivity. If you're between 5 to 7%, it's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. You don't want to get over 7%. Jennifer, ICU utilization statewide is 82.9%. Anything over 80% is kind of, you're in the yellow. If you get over 85%, you're in the red. That is not good. And we're on the edge of red. 15.1% of all patients in the ICUs, because ICU patients aren't all COVID, 15.1% of those are COVID. That's really bad. You want to be 10% or under. That's statewide.
Yeah.
We'll get into the county numbers in a minute. Uh-oh. I think Jennifer froze.
No,
Well,
did
we're
I
waiting-
freeze? Okay.
Oh, I think
great.
so. I can see you now. You're not frozen now.
Okay, sorry.
With that, we'll go ahead into the numbers.
I'm sorry.
King County, 251.6 cases per 100,000. To stay in phase 3, it was supposed to be under 200. 5.5 positivity rate. It's yellow, but barely yellow. It's just over the line. 85% ICU utilization is red. Not good. 13.9% of those ICU patients are COVID patients. Let's go to Snohomish County in the lowlands. 233.8 cases per 100. They're also over the line for to stay in phase 3. 7.2% positivity rate. That is just over the line for red. If you're over 7%, that means you're under testing. 66% ICU utilization. That's actually really good. That's really good. 60 to 80% is considered normal. 17.1 in ICU are COVID patients. That's actually really bad. Let's go to Pierce County as we continue to go around the Puget